You notice it under the bathroom light before you feel it anywhere else. One tooth looks a little longer than another. Maybe cold water suddenly catches a spot near the gum line, or the edge of a tooth feels different when you run your tongue across it. So you do what seems logical. You brush more carefully, buy a stronger toothpaste, maybe add mouthwash, and hope the gum line settles down. But here's the uncomfortable part. Some of the things people do every day because they think they're protecting their mouth can quietly make recession harder to control. There are 7 habits worth looking at, and the first is probably the one most people would never describe as bad hygiene. It's brushing with too much force. The problem isn't brushing itself. Brushing is essential. The problem is turning a toothbrush into a scrub brush. If the bristles on your brush are flattened or flared outward after only a few weeks, that can be a clue that you're pressing harder than you realize. The same goes for fast, aggressive side-to-side strokes right along the gum line. Over time, repeated mechanical stress can irritate the thin tissue around the teeth, especially in areas where the gums are naturally delicate. A hard-bristled brush can add even more pressure. The safer pattern is almost the opposite of what many people learned growing up. Soft bristles, gentle pressure, short controlled movements, and letting the brush do the work instead of your arm. And there's an important detail here. Once part of the root becomes exposed, people often scrub that spot even harder because it looks darker or feels rougher than enamel. That can create a frustrating cycle. The tooth looks different, so you brush harder. The area becomes more sensitive, so you buy a deep cleaning brush and keep going. But recession isn't dirt you can scrub away. If anything, the appearance of a longer tooth is a reason to reduce unnecessary friction and find out why the tissue is changing. The second habit is almost the opposite mistake. Cleaning between your teeth so aggressively that the cleaning itself hurts. Floss should slide between the teeth and curve gently around the side of each tooth. It shouldn't be snapped down into the gum like a tiny rubber band. If you see yourself sawing quickly back and forth, cutting into the same spot every night, or forcing an interdental brush into a space that's too tight, you may be irritating tissue that's already sensitive. At the same time, being so gentle that plaque is never actually removed doesn't solve the problem either. The goal is controlled cleaning, not force. This matters because receding gums can make people anxious, and anxiety often produces extremes. Some people stop cleaning the tender area because they're afraid of making it worse. Others attack it harder because they assume more pressure means more cleanliness. Neither reaction answers the more useful question. Is the tissue being irritated from the outside, inflamed around the gum line, or dealing with both at the same time? If this is already changing the way you look at your daily routine, subscribe. We break down the oral changes people start noticing after 40 without turning every symptom into complicated dental jargon. The third habit is using mouthwash as if it can replace the parts of your routine that physically remove plaque. A rinse can be useful for certain people and certain goals, but swishing liquid around your mouth is not the same thing as removing the sticky film that collects on and between teeth. Plaque can remain close to the gum line even when your mouth tastes fresh. And once deposits harden into tartar, they can't simply be rinsed away at home. Think of your toothbrush as cleaning the main roads and cleaning between your teeth as reaching the narrow side streets. Mouthwash is more like sending water through the neighborhood. It may reach many places, but that doesn't mean it automatically lifts everything attached to the surface. So if your routine is 2 quick swishes a day while flossing happens only when you remember, your mouth may feel cleaner than it actually is. That difference matters because ongoing inflammation around the gums can gradually affect the tissues supporting the teeth. There's another clue hidden in this habit: bleeding. If your gum line bleeds repeatedly when you brush or clean between your teeth, don't automatically assume the solution is to stop touching that area. Recurrent bleeding can be a sign that the tissue is inflamed and deserves attention. Gentle daily plaque removal still matters, but persistent bleeding should change the question from which product should I buy to why does this area keep reacting? Now ask yourself something. Does your mouth usually feel comfortable an hour after brushing, or does it already feel sticky and dry again? Because the fourth habit is ignoring a mouth that stays dry for much of the day. Dry mouth doesn't automatically mean your gums will recede, and it isn't something you should simply write off as getting older. Saliva is part of your mouth's natural defense system. It helps wash away food particles, keeps tissues moist, and supports an environment where the mouth can function normally. When saliva stays low, plaque-related problems, cavities, irritation, and oral infections may become harder to control. Some medications can reduce saliva. Tobacco can contribute to dryness. Alcohol and caffeine may make dry mouth symptoms worse for some people. And sometimes the warning signs become so familiar that people stop noticing them. Waking up with a sticky mouth, needing water beside the bed, struggling with dry foods, or feeling like the tongue sticks to the roof of the mouth. What makes this especially easy to miss after 40 is that people often blame the change on age and never mention it. But if your mouth started feeling noticeably drier after a new medication or another health change, the useful move isn't to stop anything on your own. It's to bring the symptom up with your dentist or physician and ask what may be contributing to it. Even something as simple as recognizing persistent dryness can change the way you approach the rest of your oral routine. And this is a good place to open one important parenthesis, because everything we've discussed so far points to a larger idea. Your mouth isn't just a collection of tooth surfaces that need to be scrubbed clean. It's a living environment made up of saliva, gum tissue, and many different microorganisms. Brushing and cleaning between the teeth remain the foundation because they physically remove buildup, but some people are also becoming interested in supporting the oral environment from another angle. That's where oral probiotics come into the conversation. One option in that category is Prodentim, a daily oral probiotic supplement designed to support the environment around your teeth and gums. It isn't a replacement for brushing, flossing, professional cleanings, or dental care, and it shouldn't be viewed as a way to regrow lost gum tissue. But if the idea of supporting your oral microbiome is new to you, I've put the Prodentim information in the description below. You can click the link after the video, take a look at how it works, and decide for yourself whether it fits your routine. Now, the fifth habit is different because you can have an extremely clean mouth and still be doing it every single day without realizing it. Clenching or grinding your teeth. Most people imagine grinding as something dramatic, like hearing teeth scrape together loudly at night. But clenching can be almost silent. You might do it while driving, concentrating at a computer, lifting something heavy, dealing with stress, or sleeping. The clues can be subtle. Maybe your jaw feels tired when you wake up. Maybe you get tension around the temples. Maybe the edges of certain teeth look flatter than they once did. Or perhaps your dentist has mentioned signs of wear. Repeated excessive force can place additional stress on the teeth and the tissues that support them, especially if there is already inflammation or reduced support around a particular tooth. Try something simple right now. Notice where your teeth are resting. Are they lightly apart, or are you pressing them together while listening to this? A surprising number of people discover that they spend much of the day with their jaw tense. Becoming aware of daytime clenching may help you interrupt the pattern. Nighttime grinding is different because you can't consciously stop something you're doing while asleep. That's when a dental evaluation becomes useful. A dentist can look for signs of wear and help determine whether grinding or clenching may be part of the bigger picture. The sixth habit is one people often separate from dental health completely: regular tobacco use. Smoking and other tobacco products are important risk factors for gum disease and can make periodontal problems more difficult to manage. That matters because recession isn't always just about the visible edge of the gum moving downward. Sometimes the more important change is happening deeper around the structures supporting the tooth. This can also make the mirror misleading. You might expect unhealthy gums to always look dramatically red, painful, or swollen, but periodontal problems don't always announce themselves that clearly. So the absence of a dramatic symptom doesn't automatically mean everything underneath is stable. If you use tobacco, this isn't about guilt. It's about recognizing that your gum line responds to more than brushing technique. You could switch toothbrushes, floss perfectly, and buy every rinse in the pharmacy, while still ignoring a factor that may be working against the health of the tissues around your teeth. If quitting is something you're considering, a dentist or physician can help you find evidence-based support rather than leaving you to rely entirely on willpower. And then there's the seventh habit, the one that allows several of the others to keep working quietly in the background, waiting until recession hurts before getting it checked. Gum problems can be surprisingly quiet. That's exactly why someone can watch a tooth look slightly longer year after year and keep telling themselves they'll mention it someday. The problem is that two people can have almost identical looking gum lines in the mirror for very different reasons. One may have mechanical irritation from brushing, another may have inflammation and periodontal disease. Someone else may have thin gum tissue combined with excessive forces around a tooth, and another person may have several of these factors happening at the same time. This becomes especially important when the recession is localized. If one tooth suddenly looks longer than the teeth beside it, one root becomes increasingly sensitive, or one specific area keeps bleeding, the pattern itself can provide useful clues during an examination. The location matters. The speed of change matters. Whether the tooth feels stable matters. And whether there are signs of inflammation or changes in the supporting tissues matters. You can't reliably separate all of those possibilities by looking in a bathroom mirror. A dental professional can examine the gum line and the tissues around the teeth and help determine whether the area appears stable or whether something is progressing. If you have recurring bleeding, swelling, pus, a loose tooth, persistent pain, or changes that continue to worsen, that's a strong reason not to keep postponing an evaluation. Before we put all 7 habits together, I'm curious which one caught you off guard most. Was it brushing too hard, aggressive flossing, relying on mouthwash, ignoring dry mouth, clenching tobacco, or simply waiting too long? Tell me in the comments which one sounds most familiar in your own routine. Because the larger lesson here is that receding gums usually aren't a problem you solve by doing one thing harder. The gum line can be influenced by mechanical stress, inflammation, periodontal problems, individual anatomy, and sometimes several factors at once. After decades of repeating the same routine, small habits also have more time to leave visible clues. That doesn't mean recession is simply what happens when you get older. And it doesn't mean every tooth that looks slightly longer is an emergency. It means the smarter response is to stop adding unnecessary stress. Use gentle brushing pressure. Clean between your teeth consistently without attacking the tissue. Don't let mouthwash become a shortcut for actual plaque removal. Pay attention when your mouth stays unusually dry. Notice whether you spend the day clenching your jaw. Take tobacco seriously as part of the periodontal picture. And don't wait for pain before asking why your gum line is changing. Because the next time you stand under that bathroom light and notice one tooth looking just a little longer than it did before, don't respond by grabbing the toothbrush and scrubbing harder. Remember what that mirror is actually telling you. It can show you that something has changed, but it can't tell you why. Finding the reason behind that change is what gives you a better chance to protect the gum tissue and teeth you still have.